Someone maybe from your class or from other section was saying that the recording that is being done here on Teams is not downloadable or some problem was there. So that's why I don't want to risk that. Okay. So please, have you started the recording?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, now. So can you now see my screen? Beta, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we start from your questions. So please tell me what your questions are so we can start with the lecture. G, I'm all ears, please. What are your questions? Yes, sorry.
सर हम तो मॉइस्चर कंटेंट के लिए वेट वेट ऑफ सॉइल लेते हैं, तो हम लोडिंग के बाद लेते हैं पहले, और अगर बाद लेते हैं तो उसकी मेन रीजन क्या है हमारे पास?
I don't get the question. Can you repeat that, please?
सर जब हम एंड पे मॉइस्चर कंटेंट निकालते हैं तो उसके लिए जब हम वेट वेट लेते हैं सॉइल का तो वो आफ्टर लोडिंग लेते हैं.
Yes, you're right. So in the consolidation test, first you will do the loading phases, all the loading increments, and then all unloading. So once you have done all unloading, okay, then you will take out the sample and then put that in the oven. So that will be the moisture content that you will be getting out.
Okay, sir.
Okay, next question, please.
सर जो हम
Yes.
पोल स्टोन यूज करते हैं वो स्टोन ही क्यों यूज करते हैं, कोई और चीज नहीं यूज कर सकते उसकी जगह?
Okay, that's a good option. Good question. So do you have any suggestions? Okay, just first tell me. Your question is very good. Very good question. So what do you think is the purpose of placing a porous stone?
इतना कि उसमें से वो वाटर गुजर सके.
Okay, that's very right. So the purpose of porous stone is to easily drain the water out of the soil. Okay. So now what else can you use for the same purpose? Do you have anything in mind that can drain your quick soil quickly? Sand can do that, right? Because sand is also porous.
Yes, sir, sand.
It can quickly drain the water. Okay, so why don't we use sand? I'm sure you can answer that. Why don't we use sand? What will happen if I use sand?
सर
Yes.
वो बिखर जाएगी.
बिखर जाएगी, but that is contained inside the consolidometer. We can place maybe some steel sets on the side. So still then what will be the main problem? Okay, let me draw a little idea for you. So okay,
सर उसकी अपनी भी तो कंसोलिडेशन हो सकती है अंडर लोडिंग
can you
सैंड
see
की.
my whiteboard? Can you see my whiteboard?
No, sir.
Is it not
Yes,
visible?
sir.
All right. So you see here, so the,
Yes, sir,
the
visible.
question you had is very interesting actually. So you said that okay, let's assume that this whole thing is placed in the consolidometer, and this is our soil specimen. Okay, and this is the consolidation ring. So we say generally what we have is that this all is submerged in water, and generally this we have are the porous stones, right? Can you see that? Hello, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one of you said that if we place sand on top and bottom, if this is the sand, what will happen? It will move on the sides like this, right? because we are applying load.
Yes, sir.
So what if I can do this? I make a bigger steel box or a steel round, and then this is my soil specimen, and this is sand on top and bottom. Now sand cannot flow on the side because it is enclosed in a steel ring. Everything is now enclosed in a steel ring. So can I do this for consolidation test? Ji beta, what are your thoughts? Yes, can I do this? Because this is this you can say that this all is steel now. The same consolidation ring I have extended so that on top and bottom I can have sand. So the purpose of clay, this is clay. So the purpose of clay being drained can be easily done by sand. Okay. So do you see any problem in this, or are you okay with this of this method?
सर इसमें सैंड की
Okay, sir.
Yes, yes, I am listening. Please repeat that.
सर इसमें सैंड की भी कंसोलिडेशन का कुछ नहीं इफेक्ट आ जाएगा क्योंकि उसके ऊपर लोडिंग आ रही है उसका
We can neglect that because we know that in sand there is only immediate settlement that completes within the construction time or as soon as you're placing your load. So at the same time, all the consolidation, all the immediate settlement would have been finished. So you can neglect that. If we neglect that, then is it okay to use this method? Do you feel any problem in this?
सर इसमें ये नहीं होगा कि लोड जो है वो सैंड बेयर करना शुरू कर देगी बजाय मतलब क्ले लेयर पे आने के, वो हार्ड स्टोन.
Okay. Then what difference would that make?
वो जो टाइम उसका टाइम लैग्स है डिफ्लेक्शंस का वो उसमें चेंजिंग आ जाएगी. उसमें फिर सीवी सीसी एंड पे कंपैक्शन कंप्रेसिबिलिटी इंडेक्स और वो उसकी क्या कहते हैं टाइम के रेट से वो क्या कहते हैं डिफरेंट वैल्यूज आएगी.
Okay, you are quite right. There it can affect the values of clay soil, but if we ignore it, we said okay that does not affect that much. So still, then is it still good enough? You don't see any other problem in this method? That when we are replacing sand here with the porous stone. Yes. Are there any girls in the class? Hello? Are there any girls in the class? GCR, can you hear me? CR. Okay, so any girl, please answer. You're not participating in the class, please. What do you think about this? If we replace porous stones with the sand, what do you think would be the problem, or will that work efficiently as the porous stone method? I cannot hear anyone. Hello? Please, can you hear me, guys?
Sir, sand
Yes, sir.
place से move
Okay, yes.
हो है, लेकिन जो porous stone है,
Sorry, beta, could you repeat that from the start? You're very hardly audible.
सर जो sand है वो अगर हम load लगाएंगे तो वो move हो सकती है या equally distribution का problem हो सकता है.
Okay. That was the answer I was looking for. So all the things the guy said before that there are all appreciable and they're also right, but the main concern that the question that was asked that why porous stone. So as you said that once we are using sand, what can happen? Because if I am using sand, what can happen? It can deform here from the center, okay, and then the stress distribution can be also different, okay. So the advantage of using a porous stone like this one here is that it has stiffness. So that stiffness would help us an equal distribution of the load on the soil sample. Okay. So the advantage of using a porous stone that helps in drainage is that it has stiffness, because we know that stone is a hard material. So once it is loaded, so it can distribute the load uniformly on the clay soil. So the advantage of using a porous stone is a UDL load. But if you use sand, so as all of your friends said before, that sand can take load, sand can take some drainage. They were all right, but they missed this point that it can get stretched in a certain area, so it can be deformed in that area, and also the load distribution will not be uniform, and as a result our results will not be accurate. And also there is one key thing also included in that, is that there can be intermixing of the at the layer level. If I zoom this up for you, so sand can intermix with the clay layer, and then that can create a blockage barrier here, okay, that does not allow any further water movement. That's why we prefer using porous stones instead of sand. Any questions, please? If it's not clear, I can repeat that.
सर हम सैंड के ऊपर भी तो कोई
Yes, yes, please.
यूनिफॉर्म कर सकते हैं.
How can you
सर
do
मैं कह
that?
रहा हूँ कि सर सैंड के ऊपर अगर कोई हम मेटल की प्लेट रखते हैं तो वो यूनिफॉर्मली नहीं डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देगी लोड को.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, what will be the advantage of using sand with the steel plate, where the cost of the stone is very less as compared to the sand plus the steel plate? What do you think? And definitely your steel plate has to be hard enough, okay, so that it does not bend. So that means more cost, and also the water traveling up would be stopped by the steel plate. Whereas in case of porous stone, the water that is moving up, it just moves on the other side from the pores and it goes out. Whereas steel plate will block the movement of any water beyond its boundary. Yes, please.
Okay,
Is
sir.
it clear?
It's clear. Yes, sir.
So let me sum that up for you. So the advantage of using porous stone is that it provides a stiffness that helps in distributing the load uniformly over the clay layer that we are testing in the consolidation test. And also the advantage is that it allows the easy flow of water from that is being expelled out from the clay layer on the outside of the porous stone and other side, so it does not block here. So it can move outside, okay? It does not get blocked out. Now, yes, next question, please.
सर जब हम सैंड उसके ऊपर क्ले के ऊपर लोड अप्लाई कर रहे हैं तो जब हमारी डायल गेज की रीडिंग कांस्टेंट हो गया या 24 आवर पास हो गया तो हम उसको मतलब नया लोड लगा देते हैं. सर अगर 24 के आवर्स के बाद भी वो गेज की रीडिंग कांस्टेंट नहीं होती तो फिर भी हम मतलब आगे जो है शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे या नहीं?
Okay, how will you know that gauge is still changing reading after 24 hours?
सर कांस्टेंट तो तब होगी ना जब हम मतलब के 3-4 रीडिंग देखेंगे कि डायल गेज की रीडिंग कांस्टेंट आ रही है. अगर 24 आवर और 23 आवर या पिछली जो रीडिंग है उन दोनों में डिफरेंस है तो उधर से तो यही पता चलेगा कि कांस्टेंट नहीं हुई है अभी तक.
Okay, so you see that after 24 hours, when you will remove the load, so definitely you will not know if the load was going to still deform the load reading or not. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
either it stays there until readings are deformation dial gauge reading is no more changing. Okay, that means all the deformation has been occurred, or after 24 hours you will remove the loading. So that means you do not measure it after 24 hours. So regardless of the fact that it can compress more and in the same load, we just remove it after 24 hours, okay, and we place the next load increment.
Okay, sir.
Yes, beta. Next question, please. But I am very happy with the class. At least you are asking questions. Other classes never ask questions. And this this out of the box thinking would really help you in your examination, because this time we all know that this is going to be an open book exam, so definitely it will not be a conventional examination. So I'm sure you would have to think out of the box, just like your questions right now. Okay.
सर जो आपने कहा कि जो वाटर है वो मूव अपवर्ड करता है या डाउनवर्ड करता है, साइडों पे नहीं करता है सर, इसकी वजह क्या है?
Sorry, what did I say? What border?
सर जो आपने जो वीडियो में बताया कि जो वाटर है जब प्रेशर अप्लाई करते हैं वो
Okay,
स्टेप
okay,
होता है
okay,
आउटवर्ड और
I got
डाउनवर्ड,
it. जी 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 जी.
उस साइड पे क्यों नहीं जाता?
Okay, very good, very good. So, does anyone of the class members want to answer this question?
सर हमारे टेस्ट में तो हमारी साइडों पर रिंग होती है, उसमें तो नहीं जाएगा, लेकिन एक्चुअल फील्ड प्रॉब्लम में मे भी चला जाए।
ये सर मैं एक्चुअल
Okay.
फील्ड में पूछ रहा हूँ, तो एक्चुअल फील्ड में।
Okay, so yes, yes. So now, what is your answer? Ji beta, you got your point. You got this. That in a consolidation meter, definitely there is steel ring, so water will not move in that direction. So what? Why in field we consider only in vertical direction and no horizontal movement? Actually, in field there is
सर
water movement on all the sides, vertical, diagonal, and horizontal. But for our consideration, we only assume that water is moving only in vertical direction. So what is the reason? You have to remember the first lecture. What did we say in the first lecture? Ji beta. Okay, let me give you a hint. We said that it's Tarzagi's one-dimensional consolidation theory. Yes. Can
सर
you
उसमें
relate
शायद
it?
अजम्पशन लेते हैं कि सिर्फ वन डायमेंशनल मूवमेंट होगी उस
Yes,
टेस्ट
yes, that is
पास
the
होने
right answer. Yes, that is the right answer. So if I consider this is the ground surface and this is the clay layer in the field. So this is the clay layer, and let's say we have sand on top and sand on bottom. So that means water can flow on both sides because it is porous, so water can move out. So we assume that water only moves in vertical direction because in Tarzagi's, because we are basing all our calculation and everything based on Tarzagi's one-dimensional consolidation theory. So in this, this is the first assumption that water only moves vertically, only up and down. Okay. In real life, there would be definitely movement of water on this side, but in our assumption, in our calculation purposes, we will say that water is only moving in one direction. And why is that? Because we are basing everything on Tarzagi's one-dimensional consolidation theory, which says that water moves only in vertical direction. Okay.
ओके सर।
Okay, let me further explain this thing in a minute. Just can you see my screen? Can you see the whiteboard?
यस सर
All right. So this is the same clay layer. Okay. Let me remove the watermarks here. Okay. So this is the clay layer that we have. So this is the natural situation that we have sand on top and sand on bottom. So what happened that I constructed a big building here. So now the stress of this building is reaching in this direction. Can you see this pressure distribution diagram?
यस सर
यस सर।
So you see the hatched clay layer, only this clay layer is under the stress. Okay. And if you remember the Tarzagi's spring cylinder model, we know that as soon as we apply load, there is increase in pore water pressure, and that pore water pressure starts to move out. Okay. So in real life, you can see that the water would definitely move on the sides in the area where the clay and water is in equilibrium condition and its normal condition. Okay, water can move in horizontal direction also. Okay, but for our consolidation theory, we say that water will only move in vertical direction, maybe upward or downward. Is it clear? In real life, the water would definitely move out of the stress area, because if you see that before loading, let's say the pore water pressure in the clay layer was 10 kPas. Okay, but due to the increased stress, let's say there was a delta U of 100 kPa. Okay, so now you see that in this zone, in this clay zone that is under the stress, pore water pressure has jumped from 10 to 110. Okay, and we know that this is the rule of nature, that water flows from higher potential to lower potential, or from higher temperature to lower temperature. So definitely following the equilibrium law, water would definitely move on the side, because in this clay layer, maybe the pore pressure in the sand layer is 5 kPa, and maybe here it is, let's say, 7 kPa. So the vertical and upward and lower direction are really understandable, because water in this area is highly stressed, so it will move and it will dissipate in the surroundings. Okay, but it can also move in the sides, okay, in real life. But for our consolidation theory, we are saying there is no movement on the side and only water moves in the vertical direction. Any questions now?
सर प्रेफरेबली वो डाउनवर्ड नहीं मूव करेगा क्योंकि ऊपर से तो लोडिंग आ रही है पहले से ही.
Okay, to answer your question, Terzaghi says that if we have this situation, okay, let me remove this again. Terzaghi says that if there is sand on top and sand on bottom, okay, there is sand on top and sand on bottom of the clay layer, then water will move in both directions. Okay, regardless that it is easier for water to move up or down. Okay, so if it is sand on top and bottom, water will move in both directions. Okay, so can you tell me what is the maximum distance water has to travel? If the water wants to move out of the clay layer, can you tell me what is the maximum distance water would have to travel?
सर जब तक उसका पोर प्रेशर रिलीज हो जाएगा तब तक ट्रैवल करेगा.
Okay, no. Let me show this in this way. If h is the height of the clay layer, okay, then what is the and all the water inside the clay layer is at a higher stress of, let's say, 110 kPa. Now, what is the maximum distance water would have to travel? Because water has to travel throughout the clay layer to release stress, right? Oh yeah. Just a minute. I lost the diagram.
Sir, from bottom.
Hold on, your voice is starting. Can you repeat it better, please? Your voice distorted.
Sir, from top to bottom.
Okay, you are saying the distance from top to bottom?
Yes, sir.
Can you rethink your answer?
सर जब दो साइड्स पे जाएगा तो h/2 हो जाएगा.
Okay, that's the right answer, but why h/2?
सर वो ऊपर भी जा रहा है और नीचे भी जा रहा है तो इस वजह से
Yes,
इसके बाद
so-
दो पाथ्स हैं.
So yes, that is the right answer. So if this is the center line, that means this is h/2. Then water is the farthest is at the center. So this water has to travel all the way here, and this water has to travel all the way here. So it can either move up or down. Anything that is in between, so that has to travel less than the half thickness of the clay layer. And here it will have to. So your answer that water can move up or down. So the water that is below the center line of the clay layer, Terzaghi says that will move downward. Okay, and the clay layer and the water that is above the middle line of the center line of the clay layer, it will move in upward direction. Okay, so all the water in the red hatch, it will move in upward direction, and the maximum distance that the water has to travel is h/2. That is half the thickness of the clay layer. And the water that is below the middle line of the clay layer, that has to travel in downward direction, and once again it has to travel a maximum distance of h/2. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
G. If anyone has an ambiguity, I can repeat that because this is very important. G beta, if no question, then we can move forward. So what is your next question?
सर जब हम हाइट ऑफ साइल सॉलिड्स निकालते हैं तो साइल सॉलिड्स की तो शेप जो है वो यूनिफॉर्म तो शायद नहीं, इरेगुलर शेप होते हैं, तो वो हाइट फिर कौन सी हमारे पास आएगी एचएस में?
Okay, so actually the height of soil method is actually based on, once again, Terzagh's one-dimensional consolidation theory. In real life, or even according to Terzaghi, he says that. Why is it not working? Just a minute. So hold on. I think. Just a minute. Hold on. All right. So your question that why? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
सर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि हमारे जो सॉइल सॉलिड्स हैं उनकी कोई रेगुलर या कोई प्री डिफाइंड शेप तो है नहीं, इरेगुलर शेप्स हम उन्हें अज्यूम कर सकते हैं, तो उनकी फिर हाइट कैसे निकलेगी या वो कौन सी हाइट होगी?
Okay, so if this is the clay layer, okay, and if we are compressing it, right? Okay, so we are saying according to Terzaghi's theory that it only compresses in this vertical direction. So after, sorry, delta H. So after the consolidation test, this will be the new height, H dash. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
So because we are moving in one dimension, so everything happens in vertical direction. Okay. In real life,
Okay.
actually, there is a change in volume. Okay. If you remember the definition of the consolidation, so we said that there is change in volume under sustained loading due to removal of water from the pores. Okay. And if we talk about the consolidation test, let's assume that this is the setup of the consolidation test. So we know that delta V would mean what? If I'm saying that there is change in volume, so what do I mean? In one-dimensional consolidation test, if I'm saying that there is change in volume, so where is the actual change? Can you point out?
सर वो हाइट में ही फिर चेंज होगी ना
So
एक्चुअली?
if I want to write this delta V in components, so I can write A into delta H. Because area, that is the area of the consolidation ring, that will remain constant. Because of the steel or ring on the side, the area, the cross-sectional area, that is A, that is consolidation area of the consolidation ring, so that remains constant. So there is only change in height, that is delta H. So if I say the change in volume, so I mean that area that is remaining constant, that is the area of the consolidation ring, into delta H. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
That's why I have written it in the component, because I want to highlight that there is only change in the vertical direction and area remains constant. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now coming to your question that why we say that there is change in height of solids. So if we write the definition of void ratio, so that is it the right definition that volume of voids over volume of soil solids?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can write that as V total volume minus volume of soil solids over, can I write this?
Yes, sir.
So void ratio is equal to total volume of the soil specimen minus volume of soil solids over volume of soil solids. Now, once again, based on the same concept, I will convert that. So it will be total area into height of the specimen minus total area into height of soil solids over total area into height of soil solids. Any questions in this? Ji beta, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, let me further elaborate. If you consider a three-phase diagram, okay, this is the three-phase diagram. As we know that we are dealing with fully saturated soil, so we know that we have two phases in the soil. one is the solids and the other is water, right? Can you see this?
Yes,
Can you see
sir.
this?
We can see. Yes, sir.
So this is the three-phase diagram. So again, once again, to understand this, I can write it here. This is height of, sorry. Just a minute. All right. So this would be h. Can you tell me if this is the total height h? So what will be the top value of h? What can I write it with it?
Sir,
Give it up.
white
Okay, and this would be
soil solids.
okay. And this is the area of cross section, right? And area of cross section remains constant throughout. Okay, so we know that there is only deformation happening in vertical direction. Okay, so that means only this actually h of hs remains constant because there is no deformation in the soil solids. So height of soil solid will remain constant. So only hv, this would be the thing that is varying. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If I compress this soil at the three-phase diagram of the soil, so we know that only there would be change in the height of the voids because we are saying that area is constant. So and hs will remain constant. So that's why we are considering the height of soil solids. It is actually, don't consider it because this concepts of voids and height, this is all in the three-phase diagram. It's not real life. So that's why I have related this equation with the three-phase diagram. So now you can imagine that the area of cross section of the three-phase diagram is A, and we are applying load from the top. So there is only deformation happening in the vertical direction. And as HS is constant, we say that there is no deformation in the soil solids. So that means HL will remain constant. And the reduce in height, that is delta H, that will only come by reduction in the heights of the voids. And we have converted height of voids in form of in form of delta A into delta H minus A into H, that was again equal to total volume minus volume of soil solids over volume of soil solids. Okay. Any questions? जी बेटा, any question?
सर फिर HS तो सेम ही रही हमारे पास.
Yes,
जनरल
HS remains same for one consolidation test.
और सर HS फिर इधर हमारी साइल सैंपल की होगी ना, इंडिविजुअल साइल पार्टिकल की तो ना हुई.
No, it is for the soil sample.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let me. Do you know how to calculate HS?
सर वो फार्मूला गिवन था स्लाइड्स में.
Okay, let me tell you how that formula was derived. So we know that specific gravity is equal to, what is it is equal to gamma S over, yes, specific gravity is equal to
gamma W.
Okay, and I can write WS equal to
gamma water.
So unit weight of soil solids is equal to what? Is it so? Can I write this?
Yes, sir.
So if I rearrange this, so this will be equal to, and now I solve it for volume of soil solids, it will be equal to WS over GS into gamma W. Okay, and once again, because it's Rzagi's one-dimensional consolidation theory, I can write height of soil solids into area is equal to 2S over, and finally I can get this, that height of soil solids is equal to WS over GS gamma W into A. This is the formula for calculating HS. And I told you that HS is constant for one soil sample that you are testing in consolidation test. So can you tell me what is WS? How can I find WS?
सर ये तो हमने एंड पे जब मॉइस्चर कंटेंट के लिए उसके बाद ओवन में रखा तो उसके बाद जो वेट ड्राई आ जाएगा वो WS हो जाएगा
Okay, okay, that's very right. So this WS will come from the oven drying method. So at the end of the test, you will place your sample in oven and the dry weight is this WS. Okay. How can I find
Yes, sir.
GS?
सर GS यहाँ तो गिवन होगी या फिर हम टेस्ट भी परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं या फिर रिलेशन से फाइंड कर लेंगे
Okay, we can use specific gravity test,
यस सर
the pygnometers. So you can find it. And what is the value of gamma W?
सर वो तो 1 ग्राम पर cm क्यूब at 4 degree
Obviously, it will depend. It will depend on the unit that we are using. It can be 1 gram per centimeter cube. It can be 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube and 62.4 pounds per foot cube. And the last thing, what is this A?
सर एरिया हमारे साइल सैंपल का जो सरफेस एरिया हो जाएगा
It is the area of the consolidation ring, internal area. Okay. So is it clear?
यस सर
Hold on for a minute. Hold on, please. Yes, any question, please? Hello? Yes, any questions, please? Here.
सर क्लियर हो गया वो वाला क्वेश्चन.
Okay, so height of soil method is now understandable.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, I'm waiting for next question. So how many students are there right now? 38. जी बेटा, any questions please?
सर इसमें अनलोडिंग करने का हमारा मेनली पर्पस क्या होता है? दोबारा से लोडिंग के बाद
Okay.
अनलोडिंग करना.
All right. Okay. So you see that there is actually one problem that is called as swelling. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. I can see, but there is nothing on the screen still. Yes, sir. Now it's clear, visible.
Okay. So there are two reasons actually. One reason of unloading is swelling, and the second reason is if you look at the chart of, let's say, E log P curve, E, and this is log P curve. So you see here that once we load the soil, the curve will reach at this point, and then we unload it, it will reach like this. Okay. So actually,
Yes,
in
sir.
field testing, what we do two cycles of loading. One, this red colored is loading and blue color is unloading. Then we also reload the soil once again, and it will be forming like this. Okay. So the slope of this curve, of the loading curve, this slope is called as CC, and the slope of this portion, we draw it actually a diagonal position. So this slope is called as CR. That is the recompression index. So CR is the recompression index. Okay. Let me draw it once again in a more clear way. Let me draw a bigger one. So this is the E now. So this is log P and this is E. So we are loading the soil like this, and then we unload it, and then once again we reload the soil. Okay. So the slope of this, this is the CC compression index, and the slope of this is called as CR, that is recompression index. So we need to find both values for CC and CR. And as I told you that there is a phenomenon that is called swelling in some particular soils, especially we call them as swelling soils. What they do, swelling soils have the properties that if this is the initial volume of the soil, okay, and water comes in, then it can swell in very large amount. It can swell and move up like this. Okay, so there is an increase in volume in case of swelling soils. Okay, so that's why we unload the soil, because we want to check that if there is potential of swelling or not. Because on unloading, the soil would swell and move out. And swelling soils are very problematic, and we have to apply special measures, and we have to take special cares in case of swelling soils. Am I clear with my answer, or should I do more explanation?
सर स्वेलिंग में जो है वो साइल दोबारा से मॉइस्चर को अब्जॉर्ब करेगी.
Actually, you see, the detail of swelling soil is that it has Mont Morillonite. Mont Morellonite. So if you remember from our first lecture, that was in the start of the term, we know that soil is made up of different minerals. Okay, and I guess we studied this montmorillonite. So if your soil has montmorillonite, so this swelling happens on molecular level. Okay, so on molecular level, what happens if this is generally the structure of a maybe a montmorillonite? Okay, I'm just doing very crude. It's maybe very far. So you see there is little gap in the layer of the montmorillonite. So see, so this is the gap. Okay, can you see the gap with the red color?
Yes, sir.
So on what happens when swelling happens is that water molecules come in these gaps and they increase the gap. So now this hole will move down. So this increase in gap is due to the water moving in between the layers of montmorillonite. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Any other question, please?
एक सैंपल काफी है क्या?
Beta, any question? Yes, beta, any questions, please?
सर क्या फील्ड में एक ही सैंपल काफी होते हैं या कई लिए जाते हैं?
Repeat your question.
जब फील्ड में ये हम टेस्ट परफॉर्म करते हैं तो कितने सैंपल काफी होते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल एक कनाल का अगर प्लान है हमारा.
All right. Actually, that is a very what should I say? Very dependent on the field you're working. Okay. So if I draw, let's say this is a plot where you're working. So generally, good thing would be that you have 3 boreholes in a diagonal line. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And also sometime we can only go for 1 borehole. Actually, this decision is based on the amount of money you have, and it depends on the importance of the structure. If you're working in Burj Khalifa, then maybe you need 10 more boreholes or 5 more boreholes, because you will have definitely more money, and definitely you want to be very cautious because it's a huge structure. But for ordinary building, maybe only 1 borehole data would be enough. So it really is a varied thing. You cannot fix it actually. Okay.
Yes, sir. सर अगर हम एक से ज़्यादा लेंगे तो अगर वो डिफरेंट रिजल्ट शो कर रहे होंगे तो हम किस तरह डिसाइड करेंगे कि हम कौन सा टेस्ट हमें कौन सा सैंपल सही बता रहे हैं?
Where you're hardly audible, please speak louder.
सर अगर डिफरेंट रिजल्ट आ रहे हैं, हमने 3 या 4 सैंपल लिए हैं, वो तीनों डिफरेंट रिजल्ट शो कर रहे हैं, तो हम किसको प्रीफर करेंगे?
Your voice is actually very, very less. It's very, I'm not sure what you asked, but this is what I understand. You are saying that if you make three boreholes and there are different answers, is it the question you are asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now in that case, you go for an average value,
Yes, sir.
or there can be other solution. Can you see my screen? Can you see the whiteboard?
No, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
So let's say you had done three boreholes, okay,
Yes, sir.
and let's say it's a big structure. So one structure is formed here, and one is formed here, and one is formed here. So for every structure, you use that particular value. Maybe this is a different building, this is a different building. So this can be an also one option that for that particular building you use the values of that area only. Okay.
Yes,
But
sir.
if this whole structure is one building and you have three boreholes, then it is better to use an average value.
Yes, sir.
All right, next question, please. The next question. Yes, today mark the tennis now. It is 38 minutes right now. Yes, here.
Yes, sir.
Because it is still past 10, so anyone who would have been coming should have come by now. Okay. I'm taking your attendance.
Okay, sir.
Okay, next question, please.
सर हम जब पी और ई में ग्राफ प्लॉट करते हैं तो पी को लॉग स्केल पे क्यों लेते हैं?
Okay, so you are doing lab with me or with Dr. Jahazib?
सर डॉक्टर जहांजेब.
Okay, so I'm sure he must have told you. Do you remember doing the sieve analysis test?
Yes, sir.
So the same thing is there, that y-axis is not arithmetic scale and x-axis is log scale, right?
Yes, sir.
So what was the reason told there that why we need a scale on x-axis?
सर वो तो ये था कि वैल्यूज काफी छोटी हैं और शायद करीब हैं और उनको जरा अच्छी तरह प्लॉट करने के लिए हम लॉग पे कर लेते हैं.
It is reverse of what you are saying. If you remember, the sieve analysis size starts from 0.075 millimeter and goes up to 1000 millimeter, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is a huge range. So log scale is always used if we are supposed to use, if we are supposed to use larger data. Okay, so there we use log scale. Okay, so the same reason we use our log scale here,
Okay,
that because we want to use the larger data in a smaller place. And plus, this is because we see that everything we are basing on Terzagi's thing. So this was also developed by Terzaghi. He said that if you go through the lecture, if you use only the EP scale, right, that is between only E and that is only between pressure, no log, then the slope of that curve will give you AB. Okay.
Yes,
and
sir.
if you use E log P curve, then the slope will give you what it will give you?
एक CC आ जाता है.
EC. Okay. So basically, this has been devised by the people who developed the method. So that's why we stick to that method, because your answer would vary if you change anything. Okay.
सर एक्चुअली हमारे वेरिएबल तो सेम है, सिर्फ लॉग का डिफरेंस है. तो हमारी स्लोप में एक में AB और एक में CC फिर क्यों आ रहा है?
You see here, because can you see my board?
Yes, sir.
So let's say this is the EP curve and this is the shape, and this we get AV from here. And if we have E log of P curve, and this is a curve, and the slope is CC, right? So the main purpose is mainly for both of them is to find out the volume change. Both tell us the volume change. So it depends on the data that you have, okay? According to it, settlement is equal to CC over 1 plus E naught into log delta P over P naught into thickness of the clay layer. This is the formula for finding settlement if we have the CC value. And in AV, we have to convert it into MV. And then settlement is equal to MV into delta P into H. So it will depend on what data you have provided. You are very right that both of them do the same thing, okay? And there definitely there's no change. So it is two method approach. Sometimes people like to use CC value, and sometimes people like to use the MV or AV value. And why someone would like CC value? Because you can also predict it with this very, very simple formula. Okay, so sometimes CC is very easily found by just finding out the liquid limit. So that's why some people prefer the CC method. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But they are same thing, only two different representations. जी बेटा, next question. जी बेटा, next question. Dum dum करो. Yes. There is no question from girls. Are they not interested in the lecture, or they are not going through the lecture before the class? Yes, girls, what's the reason? Why there is no question from the sides of the girls? Hello. Oh, sorry. Thank you for telling Mr. Rakib. Thank you for pointing out that my battery is going down. Thank you, Rakib Aruj. Ji beta, any questions? Ji beta, any questions, please? If you don't have any questions, then we can conclude the class.
Sir, I have to ask something.
Yes, please do that.
सर हमारे पास 2 टाइप्स के टेस्ट हैं, एक फ्लोटिंग रिंग और एक फिक्स रिंग. तो सर
Okay.
मैंने इधर एक तो ये पूछना था कि फ्लोटिंग में भी हम एक तरह से रिंग फिक्स कर देते हैं, और दूसरा ये कि जो फिक्स रिंग मेथड है उसमें हमने जो ड्रेनेज वाल्व लगाए होते हैं वो हमें
Okay.
सिर्फ परमेबिलिटी बताते हैं, या फिर वो वाटर को ड्रेन और सॉइल को सैचुरेट करने के लिए भी यूज हो सकता है कि हम उन वाल्व्स के जरिए नीचे से पोरस स्टोन की तरफ पानी मतलब सैचुरेट करने के लिए भी सॉइल को दे सकते हैं.
Yes, you're right in your approach. We can because generally you will study, there's a test called as triaxial test. You will study that in geotechnical engineering too. In that test, we have almost the same assembly as the fixed ring apparatus, that there is a drainage valve at the bottom of the soil sample. And in that test, we do saturation from the bottom. Water comes from the bottom and it saturates from bottom to top the soil sample. So we can do the same in case of fixed ring test. It can also saturate the specimen and it can also determine the permeability of the soil sample once the test is started. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Did I miss something or did I answer your question wholly?
सर फ्लोटिंग रिग में भी हम उसको जो है वो असेंबली में रख के एक तरह का फिक्स ही नहीं कर सकते, कर देते, तो उसे फिक्स रिंग फिर क्यों नहीं करते?
In floating ring, you see, if you look at the diagram, let me find that diagram for you. Just a minute. In fixed ring, you see there is support on top of the ring also. Whereas in floating ring, there is no support or there is no barrier for the ring. Let me just find out where this is. Yeah. Okay, let me open the PowerPoint for you. But I'm very happy with your class that you are asking good questions because this is Can you see the PowerPoint presentation, beta?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. All right. So this is the figure of the fixing and floating ring. Can you see the figure?
Yes, sir.
So you see here that in case of fixed ring, the ring of the soil sample is hatched. You see, this is in rectangular form, okay, and this is stuck in the apparatus. It cannot move. The ring cannot move. But here, in a floating ring, you see the ring can also move up. Okay, the ring is free. There is no support on top of the ring. So that's why it's called as fixed ring and the floating ring.
सर हम कटिंग रिंग को क्लैंपिंग रिंग के अंदर रख के और ऊपर से उसे बोल्ट से टाइट नहीं कर देते उसमें भी?
Okay, you can do that, but it's just the name is to differentiate basically between this thing, drainage. This is most important because we know that drainage can
Okay,
only
sir.
occur in case of this fixing apparatus. So if your apparatus has the drainage valve at the bottom, so that means it's a fixed string, and if it is not, you can easily say that it's a floating regardless of the support on top or not. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
जी जनाब, next question please. Yes, but if you don't have any question, then we can conclude the class. Yes. VCR. We have a question from Miss from Ahreen Rafiq. Are you there, beta? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so You see here that I guess I told this already in our class that our class is our class lecture is based on Terzagi's theory, and Terzaghi is having a lot of assumptions. Okay, and you are very right in saying that it is different in the real life. So this is the thing that whenever we are going to decide a theory or we want to do a solution for anything, we start with the lot of assumptions. So our calculation procedure is easier. Okay. And later on, Terzaghi theory was presented maybe in 19 some year. I don't remember the exact year. But later on, people improved Terzaghi theory. They removed the assumption of the solid being uniform, of the one-dimensional consolidation, and further with every new coming year there is improvement in the Terzaghi's theory. Okay, for our class purposes we are keeping it very simple based on Terzaghi's theory. It helps in quicker calculation, and it helps in understanding the basic concept of settlement. And for example, now these days maybe there are other solutions. You can go for finite element as method, okay, where you can do a better solution and much detailed solution for your particular case. Definitely, if you are doing an important building, you don't use Terzaghi theory, okay. You use maybe some finite element software like Fluxys or FLAC to do the calculation of settlement or any volume changes. Is my answer okay, or do you need some further explanation, better?
Yes, sir, it is clear now.
Okay, it is, you are right. It is simple. It is very simple. It is a lot of assumptions, but it is for our class. But for real life, you will have, if you are doing a field testing and inshallah you become a geotechnical engineer, then you can use finite element methods. But once again, those finite element methods are also based on Terzaghi theory, but they have removed the assumptions. They have improved the method.
Okay, sir.
जी बेटा, next question. जी CR, tell me. जी जी.
सर जो assumptions रिमूव करके नए मेथड्स आए हैं वो नहीं हम पढ़ेंगे?
Of course not. They are very complex. They include a lot of integration. Even I don't have studied the. I haven't studied the details of the method because generally people in field they do the detailed investigations. If, for example, important structures like tunnels or like airports, there they use softwares. There is I can tell you the name of the software. There is very important software that is called as Plexus. Plexus 3D. I'll write its name. One of our teachers who is doing PhD from Canada in McGill University, he's working with this software. Just a minute. So its name is Plexus 3D. I have written the name. If you get a chance to understand or to learn this software, it will be very helpful for your field, inshallah. It will help you a lot in getting a job. And there is also one more software that is called as FLAC. All of these software, they are used actually to do the detailed analysis of any building or any structure. This is the second name of the software, FLAC. So all of them are, they are actually very expensive, but you can download their maybe student version, or you can get some from, I don't know if you work with, for you will go for internship this year, no?
Sir, I think we will go in third year.
Okay. So then you can maybe go to a good firm that they can teach you these softwares. They can help you a lot, and if you have grip of these subjects, then inshallah you can also get a higher chances of funding for your master's degree. Or yes, Farhan, you can learn on your own. It depends actually on your interest. There are a lot of tutorials. I myself have joined a Facebook group on Plexus 3D, so there people discuss a lot of things there. So now everything is easier. You can join a Facebook group or a WhatsApp or Insta group. You just write the name of the software, and there you will be. If you ask people for help, so they are definitely there. I have seen people helping a lot. And you can do obviously anything now. These days you have internet, you have Google, you can get answer to any question. जी जनाब, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज।
सर ये जो डार्सीज लॉ है इसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन बाद में पढ़ेंगे या इसी लेक्चर में इंक्लूडेड है?
Darcy's law. Okay, Darcy's law is not, we don't do it in detail. You will study that maybe in with permeability. In next week, I'll be taking last lecture for consolidation. And for the 4th week, okay, that is after the next week, Dr. Jahanzeb will be teaching you permeability. There you will study Darcy's law in detail.
Okay, sir.
But I think you must have studied that in your fluid dynamics, fluid mechanics. Didn't you go through that in your fluid mechanics class?
सर याद नहीं है.
Okay, no worries. But in next class, Dr. Jahanzeb
Yes,
will
sir.
be teaching you Darcy's because permeability is based on that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if you don't have any questions, so we can conclude, or if you have any question, we can go with that. GCR.
Sir, I think we can conclude if no one have any question.
All right, let's call it a day then. Okay, thank you very much, Jazakallah, for listening with peace. Okay, and I'm happy that you're asking good questions. All right, take care then. I'm signing off. Okay, assalamu alaikum. And the student who was recording the lecture, please share that on the WhatsApp group. Who was recording the lecture?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay, now you can finish the recording and
sir,
share
the
it.
voice not.
Sorry.
Sir, clear.
Yes, Farhan.
Sir, its voice is not clear. I have just seen
Okay,
them.
it
I
doesn't
don't
matter
know
what
why.
I have done. Okay, it doesn't matter. Just share the video and then we can see what can we do to improve it. Okay.
Okay, sir, I can.